Hello, you're watching the Daily Roundup by People's Dispatch, where we bring you some of the top stories from around the world. Let's take a look at today's headlines. US approves major potential arms sales to Saudi Arabia and the UAE. Latin American leaders condemn Nancy Pelosi's Taiwan visit. Colombia records at least 3 massacres within a week. Israel closes Gaza crossings in latest act of collective punishment. The US State Department has approved massive potential arms sales to Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates. The Pentagon made the announcement on August 2nd, just as the UN brokered truce in Yemen was extended for another 2 months. 300 guidance-enhanced tactical ballistic missiles for the Patriot defense system have been approved for sale to Saudi Arabia. The deal includes other equipment and support and is valued at $3.05 billion. In February 2021, the Biden administration had announced it would end the sale of offensive weapons to Riyadh. Despite this, the State Department approved a $650 million sale of air-to-air missiles in November. Human rights organizations have long demanded the US ends its complicity in the war on Yemen. It is documented that the Saudi-led coalition has used US weapons to commit war crimes in the country. A Government Accountability Office report found that the US had failed to assess civilian killings in Yemen, including the use of US-made weapons by the Saudi coalition. The prime contractor for the latest sale of Patriot missiles to Riyadh will be Raytheon Technologies. The company manufactured the laser-guided bomb that was used to kill 80 people in the city of Sada in January. The Pentagon cited persistent Houthi cross-border attacks in Saudi Arabia in its statement announcing the sale. It has also approved the potential sale of 96 terminal high-altitude area defense missile interceptors to the UAE. The prime contractor will be Lockheed Martin, with the sale reportedly worth $2.25 billion. The Pentagon said the sale would support US national security interests and improve the UAE's ability to meet ballistic missile threats. Congress has been notified of the sale. Progressive leaders in Latin America have condemned the visit by the Speaker of the US Congress to Taiwan. Nancy Pelosi landed in Taipei late on August 2nd as the US continues to escalate its unilateral and provocative moves against China. Beijing had reportedly warned against the visit, saying it infringes China's sovereignty and territorial integrity. On August 3, Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi reiterated that Pelosi's visit was a serious violation of the One China principle. He said this proved the US had become the biggest destroyer of peace and regional stability in the Taiwan Strait. The Venezuelan Foreign Ministry condemned the visit too, deeming it a provocation and threat to China's self-determination and territorial integrity. Cuba echoed the rejection of Pelosi's visit, condemning interference in China's internal affairs. Foreign Minister Bruno Rodriguez said new provocations had been disguised as official contact and high-level visits. He argued that these generated additional dangers to regional and international peace and security. A statement from Nicaragua condemned unprecedented US incitement of the Chinese government and people. It said the country fully supports the invariable and full defense of China's sovereignty and territory. Pelosi's visit was condemned by other countries. Iran said unilateralism and the violation of international laws had become a fixed procedure in US foreign policy. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov said on Wednesday that Pelosi's visit created a flashpoint out of thin air. It was a drive to prove to everyone their impunity and to act accordingly, he added. Colombia recorded its third massacre in less than a week on August 1st. The Institute for Development and Peace Studies, or INDEPAZ, reported the incident. 3 people were killed in a rural area in the Cauca department. INDEPAZ said that the victims would have been held by an armed group in the area and then killed. The country's human rights ombudsman had issued a risk warning for the area earlier this year. The killings took place a day after 4 people were murdered in the Nariño department. Colombia also continues to witness the targeted assassinations of social and indigenous leaders, land defenders, and activists. On July 31st, Maria Veronica Cabeza was fatally shot in Nariño with her body left on a public highway. INDEPA said a warning had been issued indicating imminent risk for indigenous leaders in the area. Armed groups have continued to target communities working towards self-determination and those who oppose illegal activities on their lands. At least 109 social leaders have been assassinated in 2022 in Colombia so far. The killings have taken place with impunity under the outgoing Iván Duque administration. Violent attacks are also routinely carried out against former combatants and signatories of the 2016 Havana Peace Accord. At least 337 signatories have been killed since then, 31 murders this year alone. While the Havana Accords were thoroughly undermined by Duque, the incoming Gustavo Petro and Francia Marquez government has ignited hope for lasting peace. And for our final story, Israel has shut down the Erez and Karem Salem crossings with Gaza. This action is the latest instance of illegal collective punishment imposed on the 2.3 million Palestinians in the besieged enclave. On August 2nd, the Israeli army shut down areas near the Gaza border, claiming a direct threat. This followed the arrest of 2 Palestinian Islamic Jihad leaders. The men were arrested during a raid in the occupied West Bank, in which Israeli forces killed a 17-year-old boy as well. The Palestinian General Authority of Civil Affairs reported that dozens of medical patients were supposed to leave Gaza on Tuesday. Palestinians in the Strip used the Erez crossing to reach the occupied West Bank to seek medical care. The closure imposed by Israel means patients were unable to leave and put their lives at risk. A source told New Arab that Israel closed the crossings without specifying reasons. Palestinian goods said to be exported from the commercial Karem Salem crossing were returned. Palestinian workers were also expelled from the crossings, and families visiting their kin in Israeli prisons were prevented from passing through. Israel unilaterally and arbitrarily closes crossings with Gaza, posing serious threat to lives and livelihoods of the Palestinians. The Al Mizan Center for Human Rights has warned that closing the Karem Salem crossing will affect fuel supplies. It will impact Gaza's only power plant and its sewage and water treatment systems and the work of hospitals, among other services. And that is all for today's episode. For more such stories, visit our website peoplesdispatch.org and follow us on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram.